Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. It's a fabulous Monday so far. If you are one of those people who have shorted in the market, then I think, of course, it's a good day. But for the investors, it's not so good as we are seeing selling across the board. Now, coming back to our topic of the automating the algorithms for which we use the JForex platform, the Visual JForex platform, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA to make the job easier. So in today's session, I will be demonstrating a simple formation using two different indicators which we are going to use to look for the optimum trade entry and exit points to trade with the trend. We will be, of course, looking for buy trades in the bullish momentum and sell trades in the bearish momentum. So let's get started. The indicators which we will be using are acceleration, deceleration, oscillator, and the second indicator which will be also utilized is going to be the time series volume, which is shortened as TVS on the Visual JForex platform. So let us now head to the Visual JForex board. Here you will find these two indicators listed separately. The first indicator can be found amongst the Bill Williams indicator. It is the first and foremost in the series. Last session was also involving the use of acceleration deceleration oscillator along with a other indicator. Now we are going to combine these indicator block along with a volume indicator which is going to be TVS. For this session, we are mainly concerned with the functional aspects of this indicator, how we can get the design implemented on this platform to execute the trades in a profitable manner. We will not go into the technicalities of how these values are arrived at. For that, you will have to refer to the earlier introductory series where I had explained to you the intricacies of each indicator. For this indicator, we will be changing the values. Some of these parameters will need to be changed. The default instrument will remain as it is. The candle period will be changed to hourly. The look back period will have to be adjusted accordingly. And for that, I will first explain to you the logic of what we are going to use for the execution of the trade. So let us now head to the not visual, only JForex platform. This is the Euro USD chart with the plotting being done on the hourly candle period. I will look for the indicators here. Let's do a quick search. We need EC. Here it is, acceleration, deceleration, oscillator. And along with this, we also need the TVS, time segmented volume. So the plotting has been done. All right. The logic is going to be fairly simple. We don't really want to complicate the matter in any way. So for any trade to take place, we are going to rely on the TVS output as a trend, the larger time frame trend identifier. If we see the output values for the TVS being in the negative territory, then that will be indicative of the bearish sentiments prevalent in the underlying instrument. And if we see the output values being on the higher side above zero, then that will be indicative of the bullish sentiments being prevalent in the the underlying instrument, in this case, which is Euro USD. And then we will wait for some correction to happen. And as and when some corrections happen and we see the AC output going up, then from the highest point, it should start to decline. Only in that scenario, we will go for execution of the new trade. So for AC, we will have to compare the output value of the last 1 hour with the prior hour's output value, and the prior hour's output value will need to be considered with the output value again 1 hour back. So we will need three AC indicator blocks here for defining the logic of this trade. And on the lower side, considering the TVS output, we will have to take into consideration last 2 hours TVS output value. We need it to be in the decline for the sell trade and to be on the rise for the buy trade. And I have explained to you the sell side formation. And for any buy trade to take place, we want the output value for the TVS to be in the positive territory and on the rise. Now here we have the TVS output on the positive side, and then here the correction happens, and as soon as the AC2 output changes course, it stops declining and starts to rise. That will be the time we want to get involved for the new trade. So here this kind of formation is going to be optimum enough for the buy entry for the buy trade to happen. So that's how we are going to define the logic, define the conditions which need to be in place for the execution of the trade on the Euro USD's hourly time frame. So let us now head back to the Visual JForex board. Here we are going to need 3 of these AC indicator blocks, and then we will need 2 of these TVS output, TVS indicator block. Prior to that, I will get the instrument subscription done. For that, we are going to need 3 of logical blocks of if else statement on candle. I'll get the default instrument as the first input, and then we match it with the candle instrument. Then we match candle instrument with the instrument of choice, which is going to be Euro USD. Okay, here is the Euro USD. Again, first input needs to be equal to the second input. Then we look for the existing pending or open order on the account, and there should be none. So I have to get the position info data, position amount, all position amount. It needs to be equal to 0 to avoid doubling of any existing position. All right. Now let's come to the defining of these parameters for the acceleration deceleration oscillator. This will be changed to hourly. The back period also needs to change. So this is going to be 1. We have to consider 3 hours output value for the acceleration deceleration oscillator. So I'm going to need to add 2 more of these. Here also we change the candle period to hourly. Look back period of 2, and here it is going to be 3. So we have these 3 hourly acceleration deceleration output for the last 3 hours with the look period of 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Alright, now we come to we are going to need one more of this volume block. This also needs to change to hourly time frame with the look back period of 1, and here the look back period will be 2, and the candle period also needs to change, which is going to oh, hourly. Alright, and these other parameters remain with the default setup. We are not going to tinker with the fast period, slow period of the acceleration deceleration oscillator. And similarly, the time period for the calculation of the TVS is going to remain as per the default input parameter of 18. We will be simply changing this hourly candle period and the loopback period of 1 and 2 respectively to consider the prior data. Now we also have to consider the hourly formation. For that we have to take into consideration the last 1 hour's price formation, how the price closed, what was the momentum prior to the execution of the trade. So for that we need a info block, which is going to be get historical candle. I'll change it to hourly time frame. Look period of 1. Alright, and then as usual we also consider the 10-second price data to look for the exact entry point for the execution of the trade. So again I'm going to add 2 of these get historical candle blocks with the time period of 10 seconds each with the lookback period of 1 and 2 respectively. All right, so I think we have the bare bone structure in place for looking at the parameters which we can utilize to define the conditions for the execution of the trade. So we have these three: acceleration, deceleration, indicator blocks with the candle period of hourly each and the lookback period of 1, 2, and 3 respectively. To look at the trend, we are taking the help of this TVS indicator, and then to consider the price formation immediately prior to the execution of the trade, we are going to be considering these three info candles of the gate historical candle, first being of the hourly candle period and latter two are of 10 seconds each. So for the day, we stop here. I hope you have been able to understand the logical part and then the execution part so far. We have to take this formation forward, which we will do in the next session, where we will be trying to get the buy side completed first, and in subsequent session, I will be explaining to you the sell side formation for the algorithm involving these acceleration, deceleration oscillator, and TVS indicator. So that's it from my side for the day. If you have any query, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there. For carrying out the testing on the historical data, you will need the assistance of the JForex platform. All these useful links have been provided in the bio. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.